start with this. I'm disappointed, frankly, in one of my guests already, and that's you, Clarkson.
Oh, good.
Because you've turned up without a beard, and I saw pictures of you during lockdown, and you were growing a full-on beard, it seemed to me.
What do you mean growing? I had grown a full-on beard.
Let's have a look at the picture. This is Jeremy. That is quite impressive.
It was a project. Some people learned how to make sourdough bread or speak French, and I thought, I'll grow a beard. It's something to do.
It was quite long in some ways, quite deep, quite rich, but not long lengthwise.
No, have you ever had a beard?
I have, but not a long one.
I've not, no.
Yes, I have. I've had several.
It's
not at the same time.
The extraordinary thing about them is, if you eat something, a sandwich, for example, with mayonnaise in it...
Oh, no.
You have no sense of what's left in the beard until someone comes to your door and you open it up thinking, well, this is quite normal, and they're looking at your mouth like... And you've got salad cream all round there.
Steve, you said you had a few beards. Did you try one during the lockdown period?
Yeah, I did the mutton chop sideburns.
Nice.
There we are.
Well, there we are.
Oh, OK.
Was that your lockdown beard?
It was one of them. It was a full beard before that, but I decided to go for the Victorian bather.
Alicia, you've never, obviously...
Had a beard,
well,
no.
But then we found this lockdown picture of you, and I was curious as to what's happening here. No photoshopping was employed in these.
That's terrible!
I know,
like
it's
it,
rubbish.
I like
But
it.
did you have a different lockdown look?
Not really. I mean, I went back to black.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Yeah.
Nothing special. I think most people got bored of their hair, didn't they, during lockdown, and just as soon as they could get to the hairdressers,
And did you
tried out a new style.
And were you fully in pyjamas, or did you dress up ever?
I lived in tracksuit bottoms and pyjamas.
Liberating, wasn't it?
Sometimes on a Friday night, I'd make a little bit of an effort, set up a VIP table in my living room. Just for me and my husband.
Nice.
And that would be as far as it went, really. Yeah, so we tried to pretend we were going out. It's like staying in was the new going out, wasn't it? For me, it was exhausting, because I had a young baby still waking up in the middle of the night, homeschooling a 7-year-old.
She's not even 2 yet,
No,
is she?
so...
She was just 1 at the beginning of it.
Wow.
Yeah,
Well,
so
that's full on.
Yeah, basically my partner and I didn't sleep in the same bed Monday to Friday. Wow. Whoever slept in the spare room and got a good night's sleep would get up and do the homeschooling.
And then
the other parent would
VIP meal.
There
bingo.
you go, there you go. We had a system. It worked.
See how it works. Since Jeremy was last on the show, your life has undergone a radical change.
Massive.
Because you were talking about the Grand Tour, and, you know, that's where we think of you, behind the wheel of any number of improbably powerful vehicles. Now, though, you are a farmer.
No, that's stretching it. What happened is I had a farm, quite a big farm. It's 1,000 acres. It's not like a small holding. And then a man... I had it since 2008, and a man farmed it for me. And then he said, oh, I'm retiring. This happens, you know, so I thought, well, I'll do it myself.
Wow.
Which is the stupidest decision I've ever made in my life. I thought farming was a part-time thing. You know, you just put seeds in the ground, weather happens, food grows, and then you sell it, and then you get a subsidy check and you buy a Range Rover.
How hard can it be?
Ended up calling the farm Diddley Squat, because that is how much money you make from farming. And it is a full-on... It's a full-on 20-hour day, if you're lucky, 7 days a week.
Wow. But so you're doing this properly, then? You're not just pretending to do this?
No, genuinely properly. I mean, for example, in the middle of the first lockdown, it was the lambing season. So I'm up at the lambing shed, the lambing barn, and they're coming thick and fast. We've got about 75 sheep. And then the vet was there helping me out, but because of the pandemic, she couldn't come within 2 metres of me. And I'm saying, Christ, what am I going to do? And then she's got one sheep that's in trouble, and there's another one, obviously having a difficult birth. So she said, you've got to go in there. So big Harriet glove, you know, the big long one you see on all those vets.
Yeah.
And so... and in I went. So I'm about here. OK? And then the sheep started to look at me in an odd way. And the vet was going, can you feel its head? And I was going, no, honestly, nothing, not head shapes, it's got legs. I was going, no, nothing. Go deeper. So, really properly in there.
I've got a horrible feeling I know where this is going.
Well, after a while, when I was fully up to here, and the sheep was really looking at me in a cross way, I said, how many holes does a sheep have at the back? He had 2. So when you say, are you a farmer? The simple answer on that evening was no. Most sheep farmers would know they'd gone in the wrong one.
Thank you.
I now know, but I didn't know then. So that was That was bad, and every time I go to see the sheep now, I can always tell which one it was, because it just stands...
Thank God it wasn't your string-back driving glove.
More purchase. No, it was a full Harrier plastic bag.
But you were filming as well, because we can all enjoy this journey that Jeremy went on. It's a new series called Clarkson's Farm. It's on Amazon Prime. 11th of June it starts, and genuinely, it's amazing. It's laugh out loud funny, which is even more amazing because I don't think you set out to make something.
It was supposed to be a love letter to the British countryside and let's stop being rude about farming and yeah, I think there are some gentle moments in it.
Yeah, but it's very funny as well. I mean, mainly it's funny because you're so useless.
Oh, wow.
And what I love about it is you see Jeremy making one big stupid mistake after another because, of course, he is a big, stupid man. And what I loved about it is I realised I would make the same mistakes.
This is the great thing about farming. It is basically you get up in the morning and then people shout at you because they know what they're doing and then you think you do. You've got a check shirt and you've got muddy jeans and you've got big boots and you think you're there. You've even got the tan, which we had this time last year, you know, because it was so hot. And I was there, and I just couldn't do anything, and then you knew you'd made a mistake, and then people came and shouted at me.
Well, it's an amazing show. Let me show you a little taste of it now, and we'll talk some more after this. Look at this.
What have you been doing?
Going up and down.
Going up and down like this?
No. I went up and then went across like that.
What did I say at the start?
You said don't do that, but I couldn't see why.
Oh, that sign of me going up there is not happening. We're going to have a sign saying, guess who drilled this? Jeremy, Kaleb.
Well, what's the matter with that?
I said every 8th time you're putting a tram line in. Your tram line's going to be everywhere. Down here, you're going to have tram line, tram line, tram line, tram line, tram line, every 3 metres. On this bit here, you're going to have no tram lines. When I come to spray it and fertilise it, how do I know where to drive?
Guess. I don't know what I'm doing in there. I'll do it properly now, or is it too late?
Oh, it's too late. You're pretty much screwed. And you haven't even drilled it straight.
What do you mean I haven't drilled it straight?
That's as straight as a roundabout.
He's furious with you.
Everybody is.
Now, that young man, his name is Kaleb.
Kaleb, yeah, start.
And he was working on that farm before you tried to become a farmer.
It was extraordinary. We looked far and wide for a tractor driver who, you know, who'd work on television as well as being a good tractor driver.
Yeah.
And then we got nowhere. And I said, well, we could always have a look at the young man, because he's only 21, well, at the start of it anyway, who was actually working on the farm anyway, helping the guy who retired. And he was just, he's a sort of television natural. He's just like, wow, where's he
But
come
you know what I
from?
love about it? It's him and the other people. There's a woman who comes to you from the Farmers Union. There's a guy who helps you manage it. And none of them are pussyfoot around you at all. They're all very, very honest and frank with you, to the point where they treat you with the lack of respect that you frankly deserve.
Genuinely true, honestly. Like I say, they just shouted at me, all rolled their eyes.
Yeah.
And sometimes I wished they'd shout, or occasionally one of them would say, we're a bit disappointed, which, of course, is the strongest word in the world.
Worse,
you know, if a bank manager writes to you, say, I'm disappointed. I had high hopes of you, and you've let me down.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of that. And the other thing I started, I thought would be a great idea, is because bees are very important. I mean, they really are, because it's not just growing wheat, barley, rape and sheep and things. We thought we'd do some eco work. I know it sounds weird, but I did. And so we bought 75 million bees.
Wow.
And you have to go and check on them. And the first time I went to check, I realised I didn't know. It's like checking your prostate. You don't know what you're looking for. So, is that normal? And then someone said, you're supposed to get a doctor to do it. Anyway, but I went down there, OK, and I'm in the full Ian Forster suit, you know,
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. And I got there, got to the hive, you take the lid off it, and out they come. And one of them was like Luke Skywalker, going around the Death Star, looking for the weak spot.
Yeah.
There is one. And he found one at the bottom of where the elasticated trouser was being held open by... And in he went, got onto the jean trouser, right the way up the jean trouser.
Of course you're wearing jeans.
Of course I was. Underneath my bee suit I was. Right up here, gets to the top of the jean trouser, there's half an inch of skin.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh.
Below the T-shirt. Now, a lazy bee, but they're not lazy bee, would have stung me there. OK, but no. Right along the skin, still no idea, to the top of the butt crack. Down the butt crack.
Wow.
And then...
Wow. So she was looking for your prostate as well. Hold on, but you got stung on the anus.
Yes, but on the anus, and then, of course, the bee has to pull its anus out.
Yes.
Yeah.
When a bee stung you, it's got to pull its own arse
I mean, it
off.
does.
Yeah.
And then that sends the others into an absolute frenzy because it's released some kind of pheromone or something of that nature. So beekeeping is incredibly difficult, but we have ended up with some great honey. I brought you some, actually.
I don't know if I want any of that honey now. Now I know what.
It's delicious.
OK, let's have a look. So you started a farm shop as well?
Yeah.
Well, let's go to this first. But you're calling it bee juice.
Well, yeah, everyone calls it honey.
But let's face it, you had very little to do with that. The bees do all the work.
Yeah, the bees, I have to check on them.
That's good. And this is, you're calling the milk cow juice.
Yeah. And then I brought you a candle.
OK, so the candle, you make this on the farm as well?
Yeah, I made it out
All
of
right.
the beeswax.
So you need to explain this. The candle is
Well,
called...
Gwyneth Paltrow did a candle that she said, this smells like my vagina.
Yes. You've called yours...
This smells like my bollocks. There you go.
I mean...
What it actually smells like is the interior of a Mark 10 Jag.
Of course it does.
Jag.
Actually,
I'd like
yes, it's got an old leathery
It's got an
smell
old
to it.
leathery smell
Which I
to it.
imagine your bollocks do as well. To be fair.